Hey everybody, and welcome to Master the Art of Music Creation right here at avidblogs.com. If you were here last time, you know that we covered basically how I build drums and drum tracks inside of Pro Tools using a really amazing AAX 64-bit plugin called Machina 2.0 from Native Instruments. And today what we're going to do is we're going to use some of the plugins built into Pro Tools, some of our virtual instruments, specifically Vacuum and Expand 2, to build some musical elements inside of that session. So we've got our MIDI and our drum clips from our previous session. Now what we want to do is continue building on the musical ideas for our song. I've got a couple of virtual instruments that come with Pro Tools that are going to help us out. The first one is Vacuum. Now Vacuum is a really great monophonic dual oscillator synth, and it's a great synth. I use it a lot for bass lines. Sounds really great. I'm going to go ahead and select an area, a couple of bars here that we can go ahead and do some playback looping, just in case I want to go ahead and change anything in the bass line, do it a couple of times. To make sure you do that, you're going to want to go up here to your transport. You want to right click on the play button and make sure you're in loop mode. So I'm ready to record. I've got my sound in Vacuum, so let's go ahead and record something. If I happen to mess up and I want to redo it, while it's recording, I can just go ahead and undo it by hitting Command-Z if you're on a Mac, Control-Z if you're on a PC, and I'm just going to keep recording. Here we go. And there we go. Now I've got a pattern I'm happy with. I'm going to go ahead and press stop in the playback. And I'm going to go ahead and quantize this, which is, a very typical timing fixing that we like to do, especially in dance music, to keep everything nice and tight. What's really interesting in Pro Tools is that we have real-time properties, which allows me to take the 5 most common properties of MIDI: quantization, duration, delay, velocity, and transposition. Now, of course, every DAW has these things, but what's interesting in Pro Tools is that we're able to do them in real-time properties non-destructively. If I go ahead and hit quantize here, you can see that right now I've got the 16th note quantize value selected. At any point in the performance or in the playback, I can go ahead and change the note value. So for instance, I can just go ahead and do whole notes. But actually for this song, we want to go ahead and do 16th notes. But I can also turn off quantize and go back to my original performance. And that's one of the features that I love most about Pro Tools. So we're going to go ahead and quantize that. We're good to go. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and swing this a little bit, actually a lot. I'm going to enter a quantize value of 67% on the swing. But let's go ahead and go back to our drums from last week, and maybe we want to go ahead and swing our drums as well, that same 67%, because now we've got a really nice, cool, housey vibe. So now we're swinging, right? Great. I've just showed you how to record a MIDI pattern using a plugin or virtual instrument that is a single MIDI channel. In this case, it's Vacuum. Well, what happens if you want to go ahead and use a multi-timbral virtual instrument such as Expand? Again, this comes with Pro Tools. How do you do that? Maybe I want to record a couple of different sounds using a couple of different channels. So of course, Expand 2, you can see here I've got 2 different sounds ready to go. On MIDI channel 1, I've got this bright chord sound, and on MIDI channel 2, I've got this analog pulse sound that I'll use to do this really cool arpeggiation. Well, I can't record them both on the same instrument track, so of course, I'm going to use Midi Tracks for that. So I've got a couple of Midi Tracks here, and let's set those up for record. We want to make sure we do everything correctly. We're going to rename these. I'll rename the first one Chords, and I'll go ahead and rename the second one. I'll just call it Arp. I'm going to be doing the arpeggiation with that second channel. I'm going to go ahead and put Expand to the back here. We're going to go back to our mix window, and let's go ahead and make sure we set these up correctly. You can see here, again, we're going to go right back to our MIDI I/O section in the mix window, and we're going to go to the output section here, and we're going to make sure that we choose Expand, and we're going to do channel 1 for the first channel, already selected there, and make sure that channel 2 is selected on the second one. And there it is, with the check mark by it, already selected and ready to go. So now I'm using one plugin, Expand 2, 2 different MIDI channels, and let's go ahead and quickly record a couple of passes. Now, another thing that's really cool about Pro Tools, I've already got my couple of bars selected here ready to go. I've got the chords selected, and let's go ahead and start recording. Now, when I'm finished recording the chord section, I'm just going to go ahead and use a really cool command, just Command arrow down to jump down to our arpeggiation so I can keep recording without ever having to stop playback. And I'm gonna go ahead and start recording, hit record, and play, and I'm already in record mode. All right, so here we go. And of course, if I'm happy with that, I just hit Command, arrow down. I'm gonna go jump up a couple of octaves here and record my arpeggiation. Here we go. All right, so now I've got something going on there. I'm going to go ahead, come out of record mode. I'm going to leave it playing. And of course, I've got something to fix here in the arpeggiation. To do that, I can quickly just double-click the pattern. And now we're in our really amazing MIDI editor. I can go ahead and select the note that I want to delete, select it, just hit the delete key. There we go. But of course, everything's a little sloppy, and we're going to want to quantize that. So I hit my quantize button there. On the arpeggiation, I'm going to swing that the same way I've got my drums and our bass line. So I'm going to go ahead and enter, again, that 67% swing. There we go. So now we've got a bass line, we've got some synth hooks, and now you can see that we're starting to build some musical elements to our song. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Master the Art of Music Creation right here on avidblogs.com. Again, don't forget to grab a copy of the session and practice at home, and we'll see you next time.